Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'll go
It's
out.
good?
Yeah.
Okay. It's on. It's on.
Yeah.
Hashutvim sheratz lasis mechitza. So in the Mishnah we're learning about shutvim that wanted to make a mechitza. The Gemara is going to talk about what's made a mechitza. A band, it means a wall, or they wanted to make a division. Sagt the Mishnah.
So what's the Hashutvim? He's a shaykhs.
Hashutvim has a shaykhs to the last Mishnah of Bava Metzia, which spoke about shutvim. That's why the hey Hashutvim. His Chaim answers that the hay is the hay yediyah that connects us with the previous mesechta. Hashutim sharatzu, the shutim that were masking lasses mechitza to make a wall. Where bechotze, in a chotze. In a chotze, people use the chotze, do their private hishtamshus there. Boinin es hakoisel b'emtze. They build a wall between the chatzeres. Zog the Gemara, zog the Mishnah. If they live in a place, b'mekom shenagu livnois gevil, in a place where they build the kind of stone that they didn't chisel out, it's not smooth, it sticks out. It's not worked out stones, not smoothened out. So you build the stones of gevil, which take up more space of the chutzah to have for the wall.
Because they stick out.
They stick out. Gazis already cut, they chisel down, they're smoothened out. So gvil is usually 6 tvachim, and gazis is 5 tvachim, because it's chiseled out. Kvisin are 2.5 bricks, but you have to connect it with cement in between. So a brick is 3 tvachim, but if you take 2.5 bricks, which is 3 tvachim, then you put a little bit of cement in between. It becomes 4 tvachim. 4 tvachim. Levainin, if it's whole bricks, which is only 3 tvachim. If the minig is only to build levanim, you build levanim. Each one goes, they all go according to the custom of their medina. Says the Gemara, if it's gvil, and now he's giving you the shiurim. Gvil, what's the shear of a wall made out of gvil? Each one has to give from their property. Each side. Because it's bigger. It's 6 tvachim. So each one has to give 3 tvachim of their chotzer for the building of the wall. Because if it's gazes, chiseled out the stones, which is only 5 tvachim in the width, each one gives 2.5 tvachim. By kvisin, 2.5 bricks, which was connected with cement, each one gives 2 tvachim from each side. Bilovainin, if it's whole bricks, so then you're right, without not cracked that you have to combine it together. So then the halacha is by levainin. Each one has to give from the property just 1.5 tvachim for the building of the wall. Lefikach, and therefore, since each the shutiv they're mechuyev to build it together, this type of a wall. So even if the wall would have fell into one person's shus, if the wall fell after many years, the place, we're not going to say, oh, this whole place belongs to one side. Even if it fell into one person's shus, the cloud kol mashatachas yad is the shalayhu or yadei shalayhu, even though it's in his shus, so you might think it says. He's saying no. Since lechatchila we knew there was a chiyuv for both of them. They have to build it, and they both have to give from the parts of the karka. No matter where it falls down, you divide it. And so too by gina. Mikoin shenogu ligdei mechayven oisei. The Gemara is going to say on Daf Daled. Gina is a place where you have to build. Is a mocking was shenogu. You have to say it in not if it's mocking. It's a mocking shenogu.
Well, what kind of place is that?
A gina, a garden between 2 gardens.
You
have to build a wall. The Gemara is going to say on Daf Dalet. Okay, we are mechayven. Now we're talking about a gina. A gina is a different kind of a hesek. The Gemara is going to say later on. Aval bepika, but in a valley, that normally it's a makim that you don't build. You can't be mechayv one. One shutiv cannot be mechayv the other to build with him. We're not mechayv the shutiv to be mishtatet in building the wall and giving part of his karka of his field. If it's a bika, if it's wheat
to build a wall.
Or to build a wall. Eli muratza, only if they both came to an agreement. Oh no, I'm sorry. If one of the shutim want a wall, He has to bring the wall into his own rishus and build it if he wants, because he can't be mechayiv the other guy to do it. So how are we going to know that he built it himself and it was all on his karka? So he makes he makes a siman on the outside of the wall, so everybody should know it's his wall. He makes like a little cement bump of cement on the corner of the wall. Everybody should see as a siman that it's his. Lefikach, and therefore, im nafla kaisel, if the wall had fallen, hamokim ba'habonim shaloi.
Then even falls to his friends.
Even if it falls, because we have a siman.
No, but even if it falls to his friends.
Even if it falls into his friend's shoes, as long as he has the siman, it's
his.
The stone, and also the place where the karka was built. That whole place belongs to that one person because he built it all. He was koines l'sei shalei. He brought the whole wall into his shoes. Zog the Mishnah Masim Medashnei. What's if they both agree to build a wall? We build the wall in the middle, and we make a chaz, since you're not obligated, so each one makes a chazis to prove that they were shutvim. The Gemara will ask later on, let them both not make a chazis, and we'll know automatically it's shutvim.
No, it's a shutvim.
Yeah, but the Gemara will answer later.
For the kids to make sure. They shouldn't fight later.
Okay. Therefore, if the kaisel fell down, the place and the stones belong to both of them. Savrua, we had the Bnei Yeshiva had thought, my mechitza, what does mechitza mean? Good, a wall. Where do we see that mechitza means a wall? So there's a din that when somebody has a vine field, and next to a tfuah field, next to a field made out of wheat. So he has to separate 4 amas, so that the two reasons. Either mitzad to go around the vines, you need 4 amas, so he shouldn't destroy the tfuah. So he has to have a space to be able to work around the vine. And others say mitzad kalayim itself, because the vines spread and they'll go in together with the tfuah, and it'll cause a hezgah, make kalayim. So there we learned in the Braisa, mechitza kerem. Oh, and the last halacha, there's the punch line over here. If he built a wall, then he could go all the way to the wall.
Oh, because the
wall is blocking. But if the mechitza kerem shenifetzel, what's if it's a wall of the that fell down? The Baal HaSadah could say to the Baal HaKerem, because why could the Baal HaSadah say to the Baal HaKerem? Because the Baal HaKerem is the mazik. The Baal HaSadah, you don't have to worry that it's going to do any damage. The tfuah is not going to go. The vines are the ones that are spreading. So he could demand, the Baal HaSadah could demand of the Baal HaKerem, Gedei, build a wall. What's if the wall, he built it and then the wall fell down again? He tells him a second time, build a wall.
He's been a cheap job.
Yeah, and if the Baal HaKerem just said, okay, he gave up, he said, I'm not building any wall, he didn't build a wall, then the halacha is that if it spread out the kerem, and it came together with the tfuah, even if the tfuah is 100th out of, even if the kerem, the vine is 100th, 1 out of 200th, it already has the din of kalayim. 1 out of 200 is already kalayim. And the chayvach yusa.
Very close.
If it's close and it's mixed, even 1 kerem out of 200 of tfuah is already a hezek. It has a din kalayim, and who's going to be chayvach yusa? The Baal HaKerem, for not rebuilding the wall. But what do we see from here? Which words did he use? It says that over there, the mechitzas hakerem shenifritza. What does mechitza mean there? A wall. So now the time is, so we're saying when we said ashut bim sharatzu lasis mechitza in the Mishnah, they wanted to make a wall. So it's mashma time of the ratzu. The whole reason is because they wanted to make a wall. Haloi ratzu. But if they didn't want to make a wall, they say one cannot be mechayiv the other mitzad hezekriya. What's the din from hezekriya? So there's a machlekes. Others say hezekriya. First of all, hezekriya could be ein hara. That's one. That's the biggest hezekriya. But then there's a hezekriya that when you're looking into my chotzer, I cannot use my chotzer to its fullest capacity, because you're looking at the private things that I wouldn't do when you're looking. If there would be a wall, I would be able to do everything. So it's a hezek for me that I cannot use my chotzer to the full capacity. So that's the hezek that we're talking about.
And no privacy.
And we said,
No privacy.
No privacy. But you can't. But in the Mishnah, it's mashma only because they wanted to make the wall. But if one doesn't want to make the wall, you can't force it. So you see, you see, hezek. So you see, hezek is not a hezek. In fact, you mother, how do you know? Say, what does mechitza mean? Plukta, a division. That the shutzim want to make a division. The moment they agree to make a division, you have to build a wall. So that means hezek shmei hezek. Where do we see that mechitza means a division? Kiddusiv, like it says, but he mesechta saida. This pasuk is talking about the division of the spoils of the booty of the Muhammad that the Yidden had with Midian. So those that went out to Muhammad would get half, and those that didn't would get the rest of Klal Yisrael would get the other half. So you see, the union of mechtzas, which is lashon mechitza, means division. And since they agreed to divide, so now they're forced. Once you made an agreement that it's not one chutzah, we're dividing the chutzah in half. So then there's a union of privacy. You have to build a wall. So maybe that's how you have to learn the Mishnah. Alma hezek is shmei hezek. So you see hezek is hezek. So the Gemara if so, hi shadatz lasis mechitza. If you're saying that mechitza means a division, why does it say the lashon shadatz lasis mechitza that they wanted to make a mechitza? If it means to divide, shadatz lachatzos mebayalei. Should have said the real lashon of division that they wanted to divide. Why did they use a lashon mechitza? Elamai. Only you have to go back to the way we said before. The reason why the Mishnah used the lashon mechitza and not lachtzos is because guda, it means a wall. So that means bainas. So effective. But bainas hakesel. If you said hashutz and sharatz las mechitza means they want to make a wall, then it says bainas hakesel. Why does it say they build a wall? Why is it saying kesel? Bainaisai. Leave out the word bainaisai. Bailai should have said they're building it. We know we're talking about a wall. If I would learn just bain isai, haba amina, I would have thought the masifas ba'alma. Just with reeds, a little gate, or with pegs for cement, that there was a division. Kamashmala, no, that's not good enough. Koisel, Muzain, has to be a real wall in order to separate the two chatzedas.
Why do you need a wall?
For Hezekiah.
Masifas doesn't prevent the Hezekiah?
No, Masifas, it could be markers, pegs that are just dividing it. It's nothing.
What's the connection with Masifas?
Reeds, or some say it's pegs, just making markers. Okay. You build a wall in the middle of the chutzah. In fact, you might pshita, it's a davar pashit. Since they were maskim to build a wall, I shouldn't say shadatsu, they were maskim. Of course, the masking. Of course, you build it in the middle. And the Gemara loy tzicha. We need the Mishnah to say the words shadatsu and beinus hakosban. So you have to say the words that they're building in the middle. Why? The kadam chad baratzia lechavrei. One of them got up, mazay genudget, and he made him so crazy. It's like biz koif noisei. So he made him something shemasking, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to build a wall with you."
Okay,
but malda tema. But I would have said, "Matzi Amalei." You could say, "Kiyas yatzlecha." When did I agree with you to build a wall? But I didn't convent a little wall between us. But a wall that's going to be a thick wall that's going to take part of my chutzah away. I need the chutzah to plant. I don't want you taking away part of my usage. That's why he says he has to participate equally in a big wall. And the Hadish Kintainas, I only was masking for a little wall, a thin wall, or just pegs in between. So you're now learning Shutim that wanted to build a wall. That's only if they want. If they don't want, they don't have to. So that means Hezek Riyah Shmei Hezek. How could you say that? Simen Gina Kaisel Kaifim Mechelkin Chalenis Rab Nachman. All these 6 cases will prove that Hezek is Shmei Hezek. And we're going to start off, Tashma, come in here, and I'll ask you a question. Arrive Mao Mishnah that Hezek is a Hezek. It states in the Mishnah, B'chein Megina. So too by a Gina of Peres V'Yerakes, right? We paskin that by a Gina, it's a Makam Shanoga Ligdei, and one can be Mechayiv the other. So if you're saying by chotzer where it was ambiguous, we don't know if by chotzer you're mechuyev, you want to be mechayev, the other one to build a wall. But if you said v'chein begina, and that's a place where you have to build it, one can be mechayev. So then when you said from chotzer v'chein begina, so you're comparing it. So gina, it has to have the same din as gina. That means that you could force the other one to build a wall. So as a Yishmei Hezek.
So begina should be climbed. That's why it has to be a wall.
Huh?
Begina, by the way, you got.
Well, not because of climb. Two ginas the same. You're not so now he's asking, but steht v'chein begina in the Mishnah. So when it says v'chein begina, so to by a garden we know for sure one could be mechayev the other one to build a wall. Hezek Yishmei Hezek, and by chotzer where it was ambiguous. So we weren't sure, but now we can be sure if you're saying v'chein begina, and we know by gina the halach is for sure hezek yishmei hezek, so by chotzer for sure. So Gemara is nishkein raya. Gina shiny. Gina is different. Kidei Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Abba, Rav Huna, Rav, like Rabbi Abba, who said the name of Rav Huna in the name of Rav. It's forbidden for a person to stand in the facade of a friend while the tvur is schon ausgewachsen. Why? Because of ayin hara. Who's saying this? Rav. If you remember, we learned just in the end of Bava Metzia, the same Tana Rav, he was always makbid about ayin hara. So he said, he touched up in Kuf Zayin, V'heis Hashem imcha kol chayli, and he touched up, what does it mean? That Rav went to a bais-part, and he looked at the bais-part, he did his sprach b'mazak, and he figured out 99% of all the people that died there was because of ayin hara. That's what he said. We learned it just recently in Kuf Zayin. So it was
Don't look at each other.
It was because of ayin hara. That's why they all passed away. So Rav was really makbid at Yizak Tepes Ashprach, and he looked at the Matzevis. He saw that 99% died from ayin hara. And Rav, we know what kind of a signet did he have, what kind of a ring. He was to sign with a fish. Fish, Yosef was compared to a fish. It's mechasa. It's mechasa. The basa is mechasa. The dog. Yeah, it's taken from the upshits and to protect from ayin hara. We know.
He was wearing a ring that time.
Yeah. No, so he used it to sign. It says Rav. There's 2 days we learned before also. When we learned it, others say he lived 300 years. Others say he lived 400 years. And an ayin ra, if you add it up, it's 400. So that's because that's chiyit from ayin ra. He lived 400 years. The Baal HaTurim says also ayin ra by Ephraim. It says he touches up ayin ra. It's 400 shkolim that Avram paid for the Machpelah, and also this that the Yidden were 400 years in Golas. Thinking Pas Vayelech, the Baal HaTurim says, yeah, shot. So anyway, he wore a signet ring, and they sagen his father, they halten nicht von 180. They have $400 they want because to get rid of the ayin hara. Anyway, sagt die Gemara, wir haben kein Ketani.
Fragt die Gemara
for tzedakah to remove the ayin hara because ayin ra.
What is that tzedakah for what purpose?
For to remove ayin ra.
Who do they give it to?
To any good organization that needs it. Sagt die Gemara, wir haben kein Ketani. How could you say that only by Gina has such a strong hezek of ayin hara versus a chatzah? It says v'chein. So v'chein, what is v'chein? It means they have the same damage. It says, v'chein is akvil b'gazis. It's only going on the type of a wall. Whatever the minig of that place with that type of a wall you have to build. If it's 6 tvachim or 5 tvachim or 4 tvachim, that's what we follow. Gvil is 6 tvachim, gaz is 5 tvachim. Tashma, come here. Says Gemara, I'll bring a different raya then. That hezek riyah is shmei hezek. Not like we wanted to conclude that it's shloy shmei hezek. Where kaisel chatz shenafal, a kaisel chatz that had fallen, mechayv and oisei ad ab amis. We were mechayv them to rebuild it up to 4 amis. So you see, it's a chiyuv. You have to build it because it's mashma, because hezek is shmei hezek. Says, what are you talking about? Nafal shiny. If it falls, it's different. When it falls, it's based on the agreement. The first one, hezek is shmei hezek. They agreed to build the wall. Maybe it's hezek is lo shmei hezek. Since they agreed, so once they agreed, so they agreed forever. So if it falls, they have to rebuild it.
So both of them have to build it.
So if it falls down, of course they have to build. But Originally, his Hezekiah Lashmei Hezek. It's only because they agreed. But they agreed forever. In fact, if when the one who asked it, what was he asking? Didn't he know there's a difference if it had fallen? So there's a history behind it why you have to rebuild it. Says you want a sefer yitzchakhalei. I need it for the sefer to teach us. You only have to build up to 4 amas. Higher than 4 amas, you don't have to. Toshma says Gemara. I'll bring a different ayah. That Hezekiah is Shmei Hezek, and not like we concluded Hezekiah lo Shmei Hezek. So the Gemara.
Well, in cases you don't have a right. It doesn't mean that Hezek is not.
No, we concluded that it's Gouda. Hashut M'Sharat Salas is Gouda. If they wanted to build a wall, they could build it. If they don't want, they don't have to. So Hezekiah la Shmei Hezek. Then we brought you a siman of 6 cases that we're going to bring that we see Hezekiah Shmei Hezek. Here we're up to the third kasha. Tashma, it says, we learned a raya from our Mishnah, it says livnois. We force him in the Mishnah, it says all those that are living in the chutzner have to participate in building. If you see the picture here, here's the chutzner, and you have the chutzner of every, and there's a whole bunch of houses that open up to the chatzeres, and this is the outside, the Rishus Rabbin. So everybody has to participate to build like a little corridor so that the rabbim shouldn't look through into the chatzeres because it's horrible. They don't have privacy.
But they go through here.
They go through here, and so everybody has to participate in that corridor with a door. Beishar v'delz lechatzer, no door for the chatzer. So why do they all have to participate? Shmami no. Hezekiah Shmei Hezek. This that you're being mechayiv them to build is a raya. Hezekiah Shmei Hezek. Yeah, no, nicht einar. Jetzt hat man nicht mehr einar by a chotzer. We said by a chotzer, he loses the full capacity of being able to do his private usage, his work, because people are looking. So the Gemara, it's different. Why did we make them all be mishtatif in that corridor? Because Hezekiah the Rabbin shiny. There you're talking about Hezekiah of Rabbin looking in. So that's the Hezek Rabbin. So you don't want everybody who passes by looks into the chutzner. Your mom is losing privacy. In fact, you mother the yachid lai, and when you're dealing with a yachid looking over your chutzner, that's not a Hezek. So the Gemara, so the Gemara brings a raya that even Hezekiah of a yachid is called a Hezek Toshma. I'll bring a raya from the Mishnah on Yud Aleph. It says Ein Cholken Lesachotzer. We do not divide, meaning one cannot force his friend to divide the chatzera. The only way you can force your friend to divide, you're not good with your shutuf. But as long as there isn't 4 amas for each side, you can't force him to divide. So, but we say you can force him to divide. My labit kaisel is mashma that you can force him to divide with a kaisel. So you see, Hezekiah Shmei Hezek says Gemara lo, you don't have a raya. B'mesifis ba'alma. It's talking about not that they have to build a wall; they just have to make a marker showing that where it's 2 different chatzeres and it was divided. So Gemara, I'll bring a different raya, a 5th raya. Tashma that Hezekiah Shmei Hezek. Coming here, I'll bring a raya from the Mishnah that says, one who builds a kaisel against the windows, bein milamaila, bein milamata. Let's say you have a wall, the window is here, the window is on the top, and the wall is here. So the lower wall has to be so much lower that it has to be, he says, 4 amas lower than the window, so that when he stands on top of the wall, he shouldn't be able to look in the window. Or if he builds it higher than the window, it has to be 4 amas higher, so when he bends down, he shouldn't be able to look in the window. And also the wall against the window cannot be within 4 amas, because it blocks the light. But that's Shenishkin Hezekiah. I'm just telling you the third din. The first 2 cases are cases of Hezekiah. Says the Gemara, Tashma, Achaloinis, Milamaila, Bei Milamaila, Bei Milamata. Whether he's building a wall above the window, or under the window, or Bei Mekenegnon, and even against the window, Arba Amas. You need a minimum of 4 Amas. V'tani Allah, and let me just finish. V'tani Allah, and we learned Milamailon. Why does he have to build it 4 amas above the window? Kidei shelo yotzitz v'yira. So he shouldn't get on top, bend down.
That's it.
He shouldn't lean on the kaisa and bend down and look through the window. Milamaton. Why, when it's under the window, it has to be 4 amas under the window? Kidei shelo yameit, so he shouldn't stand on the kaisel, v'yira, and look in to the person's private house. And then, and the reason why he has to distance the wall from the window 4 amas, kidei shelo yafel, he shouldn't darken the guy's house. Says the Gemara. So you see, hezek kriya shmei hezek, because you're telling him he has to build it at least 4 amas higher than the window, 4 amas lower than the window, so he shouldn't look in. So what's your question, Zal?
My question is, how
No.
amas stand on top of the person's 2 amas?
A person not 3 amas. Amas 2 feet is okay.
Less.
Some people. Let's learn the amas 2
According to
feet.
the rabbis, how much are they?
A foot and a half.
No, according to the rabbis, how many amas is a person?
Oh,
According to the Torah,
3.5 amas.
Well, that's what it says. I think
I don't know. Okay, that was the
I
chilling.
thought 3, so he has to.
But here we see the fetish that we're concerned that he's going to look in the window, and we either tell him to build a wall lower or higher than the window, so he shouldn't be able to look into the window.
There's a kriach in the band, and also because the angle you can see further.
Okay, good. Zok Yimon, I hear you. Zok Yimon, Hezek the bayis shiny. When you're dealing with a hezek of a house, which is
tall people.
yeah, so
No,
that's
I'm talking average.
hezekriya of a house is different, because in the house a person does really private stuff, but a hezekriya of a chotzer is not as severe. You're not doing as private stuff as you're doing in a house. Says Gemara, I'll bring a rai from here. A 6th rai. Tashma, Rabbi Nachman Mashmul. Rabbi Nachman had said the name of Shmuel. Gag hasamach lechatzach haveirei. If somebody has a rooftop, which is parallel, let's say, to the chutz of his friend, he has to make a gate of 4 amas high, so that he shouldn't look into the person's chutzer, into the chav's chutzer. So you see, why does he have to build a micah when he has a chutzer next to him, next to the gag? Obviously, because of hezekriya. That's why you did it. So you see hezekriya, shmei hezek. No, here it says kidei shelo yabed v'chatzar chaveri kishu mishtamish begaga.
He didn't say that.
No, okay, but he brings it down that he shouldn't look into somebody else's property.
All the tents of the Yidden when he came out.
I know.
Yeah, hitaka is lechira micah you have to build anyway. But the micah, the inner of micah is only till 10 tefachim. Here we're telling you have to build 4 amas. So none of them. So if you have to build 4 amas, so such a din is b'tzad hezekriya. So if you want a shiny house from there, it's different. Because the balachotzer could say to the owner of the rooftop, "L'didi kviyeli tashmishi." I'm constantly doing stuff in my chotzer. I'm using my chutz the whole time. L'didach, loikvilach, tashmistoch. But you're not using the rooftop the whole time. So, so for me, I'm always nervous. I don't know when you're there and when to watch out and when not. If you had a chutzah with me right next to each other, that's a different thing. Here you're standing a little bit on the top, and I don't know whether you're looking at me or not. It's a terrible. I don't know what to watch out. But 2 chatzeres I do. So he says, "V'lo yadanim ha'yitnu slikami osis." That's itztana melach. The itztana minoch. I don't know when to be careful and to stop doing my private stuff. Therefore, it's not a comparison to 2 chatzeres where you have to build a wall versus maybe you don't have to build when they're both equal by 2 chatzeres. They're both equal. Maybe you can be mechayiv to build a wall. Here by a gag and a chotzer, he doesn't know when he'll come in, so it's different. Okay, we'll stop over here.
But if the one next to the other, he doesn't mind if he looks into it.
What?